Welcome back, everyone. This week we are at Circuit de Ledenon, easily one of my favorite stops in the Mazda Cup. There are two main reasons I love this place. First, it's one of the few tracks where I don't actually suck. After just a few practice rounds, I usually find a really solid rhythm. Second, this track is an absolute minefield. It's so easy to spin out, especially in those tricky technical sections, and that creates massive opportunities if you can just stay on the tarmac. I've put in some work here this week already. I'll be honest, I completely ruined two of my earlier races with my own mistakes. But the silver lining is that I've managed to stay away from the usual third-party chaos. I've been consistent with a few P5s and a P3, but I knew the pace for a win was there. This is the race where it all finally clicked. No more mistakes, no more spins. Just a battle for the top spot. Let's jump into the highlights and see how I secured that P1. During the first lap, I mainly focused on staying alive, which is a standard part of my strategy. I was just trying to hold my position and settle into a rhythm. While entering the final turns, the car in P4 spun out. That was a big moment for my race because it gave me some breathing room from the cars behind and allowed me to focus forward. I wasn't too far away from them, but it seemed like they are having their own battle, rather than focusing on me. As we entered lap 3, the gap between me, P1, and P3 started to stretch out a bit, but we were all still within striking distance. The tension was definitely there, even though P1 and I had managed to pull a small margin away from the rest of the field. Throughout that third lap, the gap behind me to P3 kept growing, while I started consistently closing in on the leader. I managed to get a slightly better exit out of the final corner, which really gave me the momentum I needed to pull right up onto P1's bumper. Starting into lap 4, I was right on the tail of P1, trying to build up as much pressure as possible. However, he had a major advantage. Ledenon is an extremely difficult track for overtaking. It's a narrow circuit with very tight corners, and outside of the main racing line, you really don't have many options. My plan was to stay glued to his bumper and force him into a mistake, all while making sure I stayed clean myself to keep the gap to the cars behind growing. Starting lap 5, we were in the same situation, but I was definitely getting closer. I kept up the chase through the rest of that lap and into lap 6, just waiting for the right moment. My biggest strength on this track is consistently hitting the final corner well, which gives me a significant speed boost heading onto the front stretch. That extra momentum allowed me to pull alongside him into turn 1 and turn 2. I committed to the outside line, being very careful to leave him enough space to stay safe, and managed to complete the overtake. He stayed right there in the fight and didn't give up at all. It was some really nice, clean racing between us. He actually managed to take the position back in the following corners, but I was just as dedicated to staying in the battle. We were both pushing hard without making contact, which made the fight for the lead even better. I stayed dedicated to my line and just kept pushing. It was an absolute adrenaline rush at that moment, fighting for every inch of the track. As we were battling hard, P3 actually managed to catch up and join the fight. This ended up working in my advantage. Once P3 was in the mix, P2 and P3 started keeping each other busy. That scrap behind me gave me the perfect opportunity to finally pull away and build a gap. After that battle, I managed to hold on to P1 without too much hassle for the rest of the race. I just focused on my marks, kept it tidy, and brought the car home to secure the win. Honestly, it feels so good to not only stay in the race until the end, but to actually finish on the top step. It's incredibly motivating to have this kind of clean, respectful racing. It's what iRacing should be about. A huge shout out to P2 for the fair fight. It made the victory feel much more earned. If you enjoyed the battle, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more Mazda Cup action. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Ledenon in the comments below. Is it one of your favorites too? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.